Hi there, it's Kute here, sending you love wherever you are around the world. Today we're going to be talking about how do you ask for help and let love in? How do you ask for support from those in your life and allow yourself to receive? Sometimes it's easier to give. You know, I know I'm one of those people that I love giving, I love serving, I love giving. That sometimes in my own life, especially in the past, but even sometimes today, that it's hard for me to receive. It's just easier to just pour the love out. Have you ever had that experience where perhaps you give so much, you do so much, and life gets overwhelming and sometimes stressful, and you're juggling all these things, and someone says, well, can I help you? And you're like, no, I have it covered, I'm fine. When really, all we really want is a little support, a little help. You know, we're wired, especially the ego thinks that receiving support is weak. The ego structure, our own sense of self, often has ways to avoid, ways to be closed, ways to protect ourselves in not asking for support, not asking for help, thinking that asking for support, asking for help is weakness. But let me tell you something, that to truly ask for support, to open your heart, to allow yourself to receive love, to receive support, to receive the support of those in your life is actually not a sign of weakness. Yes, it's a vulnerable thing. It's vulnerable to ask for support, to let someone in, to let someone assist you, to allow yourself to receive. But it is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of great strength. In life, if you want to be successful, if you want to grow a business, if you want to be in relationship, if you want to reach your full potential, you get to a point where you realize that you cannot do it by yourself, that we do not live in isolation, that it might be a vulnerable thing, but vulnerability is strength, that willingness to risk disappointment. Sometimes we don't ask for help because we're afraid that, well, number one, we might think no one's there to support us, when in reality, the entire universe, moment to moment to moment, is giving itself to us. The sun, the stars, the moon, the air. We're constantly being supported, but sometimes you might think that, you know, if I ask for help, then my husband, my wife, my boyfriend, my boss, my employee, my friend, those in my life, they might not be willing to support me, and as a way to avoid that pain, maybe we don't ask for help. We become independent, we do everything ourselves. Perhaps you learn that pattern of over-independence growing up in an environment where your parents may not have been around, you may not have had the emotional support, so you just learn to not have any needs, but now you can't let love in fully. To let love in fully and to allow your heart, to allow yourself to be touched, to be changed, to be impacted, to be supported, to be loved by another human being is one of the most beautiful experiences in this life. Sometimes we don't ask for help because, you know, we have this erroneous, mistaken belief that we're not worthy of support. We're not worthy of support, and then if we do this and do that, and if we give so much and we do all these things, then we will finally be worthy, when the reality is just who you are, just your beingness, just you being who you are is worthy enough. There is nothing you need to do. Just the fact that you're born and existing is enough worthiness. Just because. There's nothing you need to do to get love, to earn love. You are love. You see, when you ask for support, when you ask for help, it's in that moment that you realize that giving and receiving are actually the same thing. When you ask for help, you actually give those around you the opportunity and the gift and the blessing. You give those around you that gift and blessing to give to you. And in asking for support, you give them, you give your family, your friends, your loved ones, a stranger, the opportunity to actually open their heart, to step outside of themselves and to access the love that they are and reach out and give to you. So you give them that opportunity, that profound gift and opportunity to practice love. That's the gift in you asking for support. That's the gift in you allowing yourself to receive. As I learned through my own life to allow myself to receive, because I was one of those people that couldn't receive anything, couldn't receive a compliment, couldn't receive a gift, couldn't receive money, couldn't receive support. I would just do everything myself. I would just be Superman, do everything myself. And everything was such a struggle. It was such a struggle. And when I finally started to allow people to support me, the gratitude, the blessing, people say, Kute, I've wanted to give to you for years. I've wanted to support you for years, but you didn't let me. So if you're someone that perhaps feels alone, if you're someone that perhaps feels the struggle of, I have to do everything myself, take care of my kids, take care of my home, do my business, do all these things by myself, perhaps you are actually blocking yourself from receiving, and perhaps there's actually infinite amounts, an abundance of love and blessings and creativity and support from those in your life simply waiting to pour itself upon you in the form of love and support. You know what I found? When you are, so the first step, you must first acknowledge that you need support and that it's okay to need support and receive support, that you are worthy of support. The next thing I'd invite you to do is go out and practice asking. Many people say to me, Kute, I'm not receiving anything. The universe gives me nothing. People don't give to me. Well, sometimes we think that people should be psychically tuned into you and they should know exactly what you need when you need it, when in reality, that is the victim's path. The real path of the master, the real path of mastery is to be willing to take responsibility and ask for what you need. And in that moment, when you ask for what you need, there's a couple of keys. Sometimes when we ask with attachment. You know, you ask with an attachment that thing you're asking for, number one, has to happen. Number two, has to be given to you from that particular person. And when it's not, we go into upset, we go into resentfulness, we go into suffering because they're not giving us what we're asking for. So when you ask, what's important is that you actually realize that the gift is in the process of asking itself, because when you ask, you actually open yourself energetically, you open your heart to receiving the very thing you're asking for in the asking itself. So even if you don't receive it from that person or that situation, just by you being willing to ask, you expand, so you win. That's number one. So just know, if it doesn't come from that person, you've now made yourself available. So the third thing is to really let go of any attachment to where you think the thing you're asking for and from whom you think it should come to you. Sometimes you think, well, it has to come from my husband, has to come from my mother, has to come from this person. Let go. Your job is to ask and trust that the universe will hear your request. And if that request is truly in alignment for your highest good, it will come to you, but it may not always come to you from the person that you think. That request is an impulse of your soul's longing, and your soul has an intelligence. So we could say it this way, that there's an intelligence in the universe that knows exactly from which part of the planet, from whom to bring that request into physical manifestation in your life. Ask big. Let go of attachment. Let go of attachment. Surrender and trust. Trust that the thing you're asking for is already provided, and the fact that you're asking for it is a sign that it is actually seeking to come into your life for your highest good and the highest good of all concerned. Trust. Trust that force of life. When you ask, trust that force of life which is living and breathing and functioning you. Trust that force of life that is living, breathing and functioning all of existence. Your digesting your food, coordinating your eyesight, your brain waves, the cells, the blood, the trillions and trillions of processes that are happening. That same intelligence knows how to bring about your request in ways that you cannot even imagine. If you want to receive big in your life, love, abundance, prosperity, money, if you want to receive big in your life, you must be willing to ask big. Many people don't receive big simply because they don't ask big. And they go to the universe, they go to people, they go into relationships with a tiny teaspoon. A tiny teaspoon saying, will you give me a tiny teaspoon? And they are so small, and then they're pissed off that life doesn't give them anything. So how much are you willing to receive? How much are you willing to receive in this abundant universe? Perhaps it's time to throw away your teaspoon. Perhaps it's time to throw away your little coffee mug. Perhaps it's time to take a bathtub. Perhaps it's time to take a huge, swimming pool and say, universe, I'm open, receptive to your abundant blessings. So right now, wherever you are, you can place your hand on your heart and say simply, universe, I am completely open, receptive to your abundant blessings. Don't simply ask with your mind, ask with your soul, ask with your spirit, because the mind is limited. And when you invoke that highest good in your request, not just what you think you should receive, but when you invoke the highest good, universe, I ask for the highest good to be done in this situation, you open yourself to a bigger possibility than anything you can imagine. And often what you will receive as a result of that asking, that big asking in your life, will be way beyond anything you could pre-plan with your mind. So my amazing friends, where do you need to ask more for? Is it in relationship? Is it with your spouse? Is it at work? Is it with your team? Is it with those in your life? Where are you playing small? Where are you asking small? And I want to dare you, invite you to be bold, to ask big. The bottom line, you deserve it because you are it. You are here. You are alive. Hope you enjoyed this blog. I want to invite you to ask hugely. As a result, sending you lots of love wherever you are around the world. If you enjoyed this blog, subscribe to this blog. You'll receive amazing free gifts. Let your friends know. Just know, I'm sending you love and big hugs. Love now.